Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Bill Howe Family of Companies, providing San Diego with plumbing, heating and air, restoration, flood and remodeling services for over 40 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE or visit billhowe.com. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marco Shiley, and by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.
Good evening. It's Thursday, September 15th. Thank you for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. More fallout tonight over a locker room attack at Vista High School. The school canceled all its after-class activities today and forfeited tomorrow night's football game against Poway High School. KPBS North County reporter Tanya Thorne has more from the school, where she talked to students.
Tension continues here at Vista High School in response to an ongoing investigation over an attack that involves some of the school's football players. The incident is being investigated by the San Diego County Sheriff's Department, the Vista Unified School District, and a third-party investigator. The Sheriff's Department did receive video evidence of a teenage boy being forcefully pushed to the ground. Their investigation determined there was no sexual assault and the boy was not hurt. But students and people in the community are not happy with the response from law enforcement or the school district.
It's just really messed up. And there's been like no one at school because there's been threats.
It's a lot less people, and like for like the past couple of days, it's a lot less people, and like some kids have to like go to the bathroom with other kids like together in case like for their safety and stuff.
Vista High School's freshman, JV, and varsity football teams were supposed to play against Poway today and tomorrow, but those games have all been forfeited. In Vista, Tanya Thorne, KPBS News.
San Diego Mayor Todd Gloria in the national spotlight today. He was part of a White House event aimed at countering hate-fueled violence and extremism in the U.S. KPBS reporter John Carroll shares some of what the mayor said at the United We Stand conference.
Well, it's incredibly humbling. And
San Diego Mayor Todd Gloria answering a question on what it's like to be the first openly gay and person of color to serve as mayor of San Diego. Gloria joined one other Democrat and two Republican mayors at a panel discussion hosted by former Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms. This being the United We Stand conference, the discussion centered on how to bring about unity.
And I'll give you an example. We created our first Office of Race and Equity at the city, a Chief Race and Equity Officer, recognizing that as we expect all San Diegans to treat each other with respect and courtesy, we have to do that internal too. We have to lead by example.
Later, Gloria was asked how we can work together to make our communities better.
Get off social media. I mean, that's a flippant answer, but I mean, we're so much better than who we present ourselves in the digital world. These hate-filled voices, these people that take their hatred and their vitriol and they turn it into violence, they are not the majority.
Hatred for and attacks against various minority groups filled much of the discussion. But when it comes to dealing with that issue, the founding president and current secretary of the San Diego Asian Americans for Equality, Frank Hsu, says the Biden administration, and by extension Mayor Gloria, have it all wrong.
It's not going to foster unity at all because it fundamentally divides Americans into different identities, different identity groups.
Hsu says violence is violence and criminal activity is criminal activity. He says separating out violence against this group or that is the wrong way to think about the issue.
It's not something to Asian Americans only. So my point is, it's a trend hurting all Americans.
An overarching theme here was restoring civil discourse, agreeing to disagree without being disagreeable, working towards solutions. That's something Frank Hsu and the people gathered at the White House today would no doubt agree on. John Carroll, KPBS News.
San Diego federal prosecutors dismissed charges against a retired Navy admiral in a wide-ranging corruption scandal. Former Rear Admiral Bruce Loveless was one of 5 officers tried for allegedly accepting bribes from foreign defense contractor Leonard Francis, known as Fat Leonard. Jurors were unable to reach a verdict against Loveless. He will not face a retrial following the dismissal motion. Leonard fled house arrest while awaiting sentencing. Californians with serious mental health disorders and substance abuse problems may soon be ordered by a judge to get treatment. As KPBS health reporter Matt Hoffman tells us, San Diego County will be among the first to establish a care court.
My son has spent more time in jail and prison than he ever has in a hospital. And he is the ideal candidate during that time for something such as the care court.
Anita Fisher is no stranger when it comes to mental health services. She worked for the San Diego chapter of the National Alliance on Mental Illness, and she has a personal connection. Fisher says her son Pharaoh, a former medic in the U.S. Army, is diagnosed with schizophrenia, and he's been in and out of treatment for years.
When he stops his medication, there's usually a deterioration, and he is not aware that he is in need of mental health care. So that leads to homelessness, self-medicating with street drugs and alcohol, and then there's an arrest.
California's Care Court codifies a process for court-ordered treatment for those suffering from severe mental illness.
And I know there was definitely opposition to it.
Mayor Todd Gloria was there yesterday when Newsom signed the bill into law.
No other issue I hear about more than this one. Potholes, traffic, climate change, gun violence. There's a large list of issues. We're still dealing with the pandemic, everybody. This is what people are prioritizing.
San Diego County Supervisor Nathan Fletcher says he thinks Care Court is a missing tool to help people with vital care.
We got to put in context. This is only going to help some of the most serious and severe individuals. There's a small population of those on the street. Now, there's some of the most severe, but there's a small population that this will apply to. And so it is a useful tool, but Care Court is not just going to sweep up everyone who's unsheltered into court-ordered treatment and services.
Family members, first responders, and hospital staff are among those who could recommend someone for Care Court. It has to be up and running in San Diego County by October of next year. Matt Hoffman, KPBS News.
Millions of dollars are coming to our region to help reduce border wait times. Local leaders broke ground on the Otay Mesa East expansion in August. Today, the Biden administration awarded $150 million to help finish the project. The expansion is a toll border crossing. State Route 905 will lead drivers to the existing port of entry. State Route 11, the toll road currently under construction, will take drivers to Otay Mesa East.
There'll be a land port of entry where you pay, but you won't be in line more than 20 minutes. That's the whole point of Otay Mesa East.
Sandag says this will provide an alternative for nearly 3,600 trucks that cross the border. Without the expansion, wait times for trucks would be over 6 hours long by 2040. A San Diego researcher says the U.S. government's tense ties with China could be bad for tackling climate change. KPBS environment reporter Eric Anderson has the details.
A UCSD researcher says the long-running political spat between two of the planet's most powerful countries could make it harder to slow the pace of global warming.
We're definitely very worried that the increasing geopolitical tensions between the U.S. and China is going to make it more difficult to cooperate.
Michael Davidson examined 5 key areas crucial in the fight to reduce or eliminate greenhouse gas emissions. They include mature green tech like solar power, electricity generation from wind, and power storage using batteries. Davidson also examined 2 emerging technologies.
Carbon capture and sequestration involves capturing the carbon before it's emitted into the atmosphere and then sequestering it underground so that it cannot contribute to climate change. Green steel involves using low carbon, zero carbon technologies to produce steel, for example, through hydrogen or through electricity.
Davidson and his co-authors looked at the economic and national security implications for each. U.S.-China collaboration has been successful in developing and lowering the cost of green technology, and Davidson says they should not be affected by political friction,
so that we can manage those while also not putting up unnecessarily barriers that prevent us from achieving our broader goals.
Davidson says import tariffs and protectionist trade policies will stymie the growth of climate-friendly tech. The findings are published in the current edition of the journal Science. Eric Anderson, KPBS News.
Today marks the beginning of Hispanic Heritage Month, when we celebrate the contributions Latinos have made to our communities and nation. KPBS reporter Kitty Alvarado found a local muralist who is making an impact.
With a shake of a can and push of a button, Paul Jimenez creates magic in lifelike murals. He's half of the team that makes up Ground Floor Murals. On this day, he and his partner, Sina Detona, are painting a mural for the animal shelter in Chula Vista. But their work can be seen throughout San Diego and feature the city's sports legends. It all started with Tony Gwynn.
Everyone was really pretty upset and down, and there was a lot of tension in the air in San Diego due to the pandemic and COVID. It was just mid-pandemic, and I put out there, hey, I want to paint Tony Gwynn somewhere. If anybody has a wall, I'll do it for the cost of supplies.
Halfway through the project, the big leagues called.
The Padres contacted us. All of San Diego was starting to post it. It was all over the news, and that was just like kind of how we introduced ourselves to San Diego.
But what made that mural special for him is that it brought the community together during a dark time.
And so that was really important to me to really bring the city together when I felt like we were all kind of torn apart and down in the dumps.
And that community is what always fuels his passion.
For me, one of the greatest things ever is when we get tagged by our fans or our supporters, and it's always the image of the whole family that's in front of the mural. It's always like the image of the little kids that are looking up at it, because I remember being that little kid and seeing murals and being so inspired.
He says it's important for everyone to find themselves reflected in the art they see around them, and he feels blessed. He found inspiration in his diverse community.
The influence of Chicano Park was huge for me. That was the first time that I ever really felt very proud to be this skin color, very proud to be Mexican, very proud to be from San Diego, and knowing that this whole park is dedicated to my people.
And his people are always close by. His Nana Paola Chavez happened to stop by with his aunt while he was painting this one.
She says, I can't even imagine. She says she visits every single one of your murals.
She does, yeah.
And she says she's just, I can't even imagine that God gave him the intelligence and the capacity to paint something like this. She says she's beyond proud of you. What does it make you feel when she says that about you?
It makes me feel like I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing.
In just 2 short years, sports stars give this duo shout-outs, and the mayor of Chula Vista stops by to check on the progress of their latest mural.
Yes, he's in high demand, and we're really proud of him.
Jimenez wants little kids who look like him to dream big.
Anything is possible. I truly, truly believe it.
Kitty Alvarado, KPBS News.
Along Imperial Avenue in Encanto, the San Diego Black Arts Culture District is taking form. Coming up, how it looks to honor and uplift the Black community. The Metropolitan Transit System is reporting high marks in its first post-pandemic customer survey. The survey conducted by a market research firm revealed an overall satisfaction rate of 91%. More than 1,800 people participated. Satisfaction with fares was at 89%, up from 73% back in 2019. Areas where MTS will be looking to improve include security, more frequency, weekend service, and cleaning. More affordable housing is in the works near public transportation. Today, the MTS board voted to advance a new development at the Rancho Bernardo Transit Station. It's expected to have around 100 affordable units and open in September of 2025. MTS's transit-oriented development program currently has 376 units under construction and another 590 in the planning stages. A tentative deal has been reached with union freight train workers and management avoiding a strike that threatened to wreak havoc on supply chains and passenger travel. Chris Nguyen breaks down the terms of the deal.
Crisis averted.
This would have been catastrophic.
Railroad unions and management reached a tentative deal Thursday, preventing a strike that could have brought 30% of the nation's freight to a grinding halt and pushed prices higher for many goods.
Had we had a rail strike, it would have cost the economy $2 billion per day of that strike.
Thursday, President Joe Biden appeared with negotiators at the White House after personally calling in during the talks the previous night.
This agreement is a big win for America.
The tentative deal gives union engineers and conductors a 24% raise during the 5-year life of the contract, which runs from 2020 through 2024. Back pay and bonuses will give them an average of an $11,000 payment per person once the deal is ratified. Union leadership releasing a joint statement saying in part, most importantly, for the first time ever, the agreement provides our members with the ability to take time away from work to attend to routine and preventive medical care, as well as exemptions from attendance policies for hospitalizations and surgical procedures. Sources within the unions gave the president credit for helping to get the deal completed without a strike.
They'll be able to continue to operate effectively as a vital piece of our economy. They're really the backbone of the economy.
In Washington, I'm Chris Wynn, KPBS News.
The Mosquito fire rages in Northern California and is now the biggest fire to hit the state this year. A spot fire jumped the middle fork of the American River, but crews were able to keep the flames from the community of Forest Hill in Placer County. According to CAL FIRE, as of this afternoon, containment remains at 20%, and so far more than 64,000 acres have burned. Extreme weather events are behind a spike in power outages. That's according to analysis by Climate Central, a nonprofit research group. It found from 2000 to 2021, 83% of all reported power outages were caused by extreme weather, such as wildfire, tornado, or hurricane. Texas reported the largest number of outages, followed by Michigan, California, North Carolina, and Pennsylvania. The rise comes as extreme weather gets worse amid the rise in global temperatures. The demand for electricity climbs, and the country's energy infrastructure gets older and more vulnerable.
Well, we do have some nice, comfortable weather. What a difference a week makes. Last week we had big-time heat, and then we got into that mess with Kay involving significant rain, which was helpful, but it led to flash flooding in some inland areas, especially. A little sleepier right now, which is good news. In fact, pretty good sleeping weather at night. Comfortably cool here in September. We are dealing with low clouds in the late nights and early mornings, then afternoon sunshine. There is going to be a coastal storm that brings some welcome rain to places like the San Francisco Bay Area later this weekend. It's going to stay to our north. Tonight, becoming cloudy, 67 for your low. And the overnight forecast elsewhere, down to 54 in Mount Laguna, 68 in Borrego Springs. No really disruptive weather anywhere around Southern California, which is good news. Future radar and clouds. Futurecast showing those clouds kind of vanishing as we get into the afternoon. Sunscreen, not a bad idea if you're going to be out and about for any extended period of time during the afternoon. We will be a little warmer than today was, or today will have been here for some areas farther to the east. But again, not a bad day overall. Back up to average, not much above that in some spots. So 96 in Borrego Springs. Some of these temperatures still a little shy of normal for this time of the year. So we're looking good. 69 degrees in Mount Laguna. Saturday, the warmth is really anchored well to the east, and we have an onshore flow that's going to bring us breezy, cooler weather. By the way, there will be that storm system bringing some helpful rain and even the first taste of some Sierra snow, but that stays way to our north Sunday night, and on Monday. We're off the map to the south. Just wanted to show that to you if you're traveling north. It is of interest for our friends in central and northern California. Coastal forecast, mid to upper 70s, looking really good out there. And into the inland areas, we briefly spike at 81 on Friday, but we're back into the 70s for the extended forecast. Mountains, 60s, nice and cool, breezy a bit Monday and Tuesday. And then into the deserts, we stay in the double digits, and that is certainly a win. I'm meteorologist Jeff Cornish for KPBS News.
The Department of Health and Human Services is launching a new ad campaign encouraging people to get the updated COVID booster shots.
One step now, it's all you have to take. You won't fall, I won't let you down.
The new vaccines from Pfizer and Moderna have been formulated to protect against the most common Omicron variants. The ads target people 50 and older who account for 86% of COVID hospitalizations and 96% of in-hospital deaths. Everyone aged 12 and older are now eligible for the shots.
I'm Amna Nabaz. Tonight on the NewsHour, the U.S. Labor Secretary explains the last-minute deal that averted a nationwide rail strike. Coming up at 7 right after Evening Edition on KPBS.
Mortgage rates have reached their highest level since 2008. Today, Freddie Mac reported the 30-year fixed-rate mortgage now averages around 6.02%. That's more than twice the rate from a year ago. Mortgage rates have been rising since the Federal Reserve began efforts to reduce inflation. Freddie Mac's chief economist says the higher rate will help cool off the housing market slightly, although the number of homes for sale still won't meet demand. Local home prices are down, but sales are up. According to the Greater San Diego Association of Realtors, the median price of a single-family home fell by 5% in August to $910,000. Realtors reported a one-month increase of nearly 15% in homes sold. The areas with the most home sales were in Fallbrook, Ramona, Oceanside, Claremont, and El Cajon. The San Diego Black Arts Culture District in the Encanto neighborhood is taking form. KPBS reporter Jacob Ayer speaks to locals about what the designation means for the city and its often overlooked Black communities.
Walk into the world-famous Imperial Barbershop, and you'll find it chock full of paintings, photographs, and artifacts that pay homage to Black history in San Diego and beyond. The shop sits in the heart of the recently designated Black Arts and Culture District in Encanto.
We're wanting this community to actually grow, and grow, it means art is the foundation of most growth.
Tau Baraka is the shop's owner, and the art isn't just inside. Its back parking lot features some of the district's largest art pieces to date.
We actually have had artists come out here to paint certain art about, you know, our expression of where we at mentally and culturally. So what you see right here is basically a whole thing of just different artists that come out from Southeast San Diego that's very, very talented.
Art in the district comes in all shapes, sizes, and colors, says local artist Kim Phillips P.
So I painted a number of murals on this street and in surrounding communities.
She was overjoyed when the district became official.
I was crying, tears of joy, of course, and the reason why is just because we see in other communities, like you go to Chicano Park, you immediately know where you are. You feel the sense of culture, you feel the sense of pride, and so that is something that I've always felt we deserve and that we need.
The new cultural district covers 8 blocks along Imperial Avenue, including Marie Whitman Memorial Park. That same part of town once hosted summertime street fairs.
Vendors from one end to the other, headliner, you know, bands, and just everybody would come out here in this wonderful weather in America's favorite city and just enjoy each other. This park became the staple of that, and we want to bring that back.
That's Dahan Blevins, CEO of the nonprofit arts organization Urban Warriors. He says San Diego used to be known as Harlem of the West, and he hopes it'll soon be that again.
So if we don't do this on purpose, create an epicenter to where people can come in a common ground and see people who look like them, see hair that looks like this, hear music that speaks of us, you can kind of forget who you are.
The Arts District is part of San Diego City Council District 4, represented by Councilmember Monica Montgomery Stepp.
We're talking about preserving history. This is the district that historically has housed the African-American community in San Diego. This is the district that experienced the redlining. You know, this is the district where we formed community.
The designation means funding to improve storefronts, enhance landscaping, and support small Black-owned businesses, as well as adding freeway signage. Grant funding will be overseen by the San Diego African American Museum of Fine Arts, which is forming an advisory council to get community input. Gaidi Finney is the museum's executive director.
A lot of times when people come to San Diego, they wonder where the Black community is. I mean, many people have that problem. So having an area that we designate and we develop gives us that designation for people to have, you know, be proud of the area.
Finney says the district will launch a website for the advisory board in the next 2 weeks. Phillips P. plans to provide her voice and vision for the district's evolution.
A little bit of everything from storefront improvement. I'd like to see infrastructure changes as far as driving down Imperial, beautification when it comes to just the landscaping, trees, definitely more murals, but we just want to see love poured into the area.
Back at the world-famous Imperial Barbershop, Baraka says he's already starting to see the community's economic growth and is looking forward to the healing that this designation can bring.
You have to have a culture to build a community, or it will always be a hood. You know, so the cultural part of it has to come, whether it's art, whether it's sports, whether it has to be something there that people can grab a hold to. And I believe art is like the universal message for bringing people together.
Right now, art is bringing people together at Marie Widman Memorial Park on the last weekend of each month. The park will be one of the first places in the district to see upgrades. Jacob Ayer, KPBS News.
And here's a look at what we're working on for tomorrow. In the KPBS newsroom, trial is about to begin for a sailor accused of starting the fire that destroyed a Navy ship. On Morning Edition, what the Navy is doing to avoid a similar disaster. And then on Midday Edition, a roundup of all the best arts, culture, and entertainment happening here in San Diego this weekend. And you can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org. Thanks for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. Good night.
Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Bill Howe Family of Companies, providing San Diego with plumbing, heating and air, restoration, flood and remodeling services for over 40 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE or visit billhowe.com. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marco Shiley, and by the following: by viewers like you. Thank you.